Welcome back to our series on creating and delivering online engaging presentations. I'm here with best-selling author and keynote speaker Rob Jolles, and this video is all about how to look good on camera. So Rob, what are your top tips on how people can look good and just come off in a really professional way for creating these awesome online presentations?
Okay, good question. I think the first thing we have to do is focus on what we're wearing. So I will tell you that I don't really wander around in a sports jacket all day, but notice a couple of things. First of all, I'm going with solid colors. And I have this lucky shirt, by the way. It's on a couple of my book covers. This striped shirt, I love it. It's really good. You should see me give a presentation in it, but you won't see me give a presentation online with it because it messes with the camera a little bit, those stripes. So it's not a matter of our favorite shirts anymore. It's a matter of a nice solid red. Black, okay, not great, but okay. But just go solid colors and no satin, nothing that's going to make noise or reflect light. So that's one. And also, dig a little deeper here for a second. You know, in terms of even the sports jacket, we have to figure out what the client, who are we talking to, what are they wearing? So if it's just a coaching session, it's comfortable, that's fine. But if you're actually working with a company and you're going to give a presentation, you're going to want to dig around and find out what is the dress code there. I doubt it's pajamas. It may not be jeans either. So we want to keep an eye on these things. Yeah. So I'm going to dress right at about my client, maybe a touch up, but that's it.
Yeah, those are really awesome things to think about. And, you know, one of the things I've seen is we don't really even have standards for online meetings yet. People come in everything from, like you said, sweats to just, you know, some people get dressed up, and it can be really uncomfortable if everybody's wearing something different. So one of the things you can actually do too is set the standard for your online presentations. You know, you can say, this is what I'm going to wear. Maybe this is what you should wear. And, you know, come up, like Rob said, with figure out what that other client's going to wear. You know, and one of the things you definitely don't want to do is open up that laptop when you're not wearing any clothes or something like that. I've actually seen that happen, and it was a funny situation, but luckily it was just an online meeting. But man, I'll tell you what, that guy, he shut that lid something fast. So, Rob, so tell me what else. So we've got a nice solid color shirt. We've got, you know, dressed for the people we're going to meet. What else should we think about and how to look good?
Well, believe it or not, when we're doing it right now, our hands, we have to watch our hands. Oh, I'm gesturing up a storm right now, but I don't think you can see it. Oh, you could if I were on stage. I have to, and I put a Post-it on my screen, by the way, that says hands, because I have to remember to get my hands higher. And so the good news is that I can use my hands very creatively. I can say we've got 3 things we're going to do, or I've got a big idea. But I can't do it down here or you're not going to see me where I would normally do it. So we can use our gestures. Remember, a common theme that we've had going through all our videos is the differences aren't as great as everybody keeps saying they are. But with our hands, we're going to use our hands. We just have to remember to bring them up a little bit. So hands up, everybody.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the other videos. So in these other videos, we've actually talked about things like lighting and your camera and your backdrop and your audio, and all of those things actually go a long way towards making you seem very professional. If you have the wrong equipment or it's set up in the wrong ways, then it's just not going to work out very well for you. So if you haven't watched those, make sure you go and check those out if you want to create a great presentation. But, you know, Rob, is there anything else that, is there one thing or something that people could take away from this that they just absolutely shouldn't forget?
Of course there is. There's a ton of things, but I'll give you 1 or 2. How about this one? And I hear it all the time. I just heard this 10 minutes ago. Don't tell on yourself so much. We don't need to know that normally you include this or sometimes you like to do that. Give them everything you got on that day at that moment. And for goodness sakes, don't tell on yourself. It's astonishing to me, be it online, virtual, or live. How many people like to say, normally I do this, but not today because I don't have it. It's not working, whatever. Why would we do that? Why? You know, crazy thing is this. You know, an audience will forgive just about anything. And as I mentioned, energy and enthusiasm, they're not going to forgive. But one other thing. Don't ever make an audience feel sorry for you. You see, that's where we really go wrong. Meaning, if you stumble and it looks like it upset you, it will upset them. If you stumble and you look like How do you like that one? Now I'll do it with my other leg. And it doesn't bother you. It won't bother them. So if you watch even late night hosts, they'll tell a joke. But what's usually the best jokes? But the jokes that don't work so well, that they work with. So get that pitch up and that pace moving, and use some pauses and just be as authentic as you can. They're right there. I know you're going to be looking at a dot, but I don't see a dot. I see a room full of people smiling at me, and I'm taking it right to the dot, folks. Do that with your authentic voice. You'll be great.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point, and something reminds me of something that you've talked about before, which is, which part of the presentation do you need to be the strongest, right? Is it the middle? And is that what people are going to remember, or is it the other bits?
Yep, instinct versus logic here. Most of us obsess on the body of the presentation. And yet, I know this is kind of crazy, but to me it's kind of the most insignificant part of the presentation. We got to start strongly, and we got to finish real strongly. A lot can be forgiven in the middle, not that we're going to sustain interest and do all sorts of wonderful things, but that's where you're kind of on the horse. You gotta come out of the gate like you mean business, so we can get them early, and almost like an Olympic gymnast, stick your landing, all right? Think about every routine you've ever seen in gymnastics. They're nice, they do a lot of things, but what are we waiting for? What do we remember? We remember the landing. We remember that last move. So actually, I heard this said one time, I love it. Think like a magician. A magician takes the second best trick they know in their life and they lead with it. But they take their best trick and they close with it.
Right, that's great. And you know, the beginning and the end for me are always the hardest parts, especially when I'm doing a video, because it's the part where you're getting into it and you're not into your passion. So what you really need to do, or something that you can do in order to build that up, is psych yourself up. You know, maybe practice a couple times so that when you go into that presentation, you're already connecting with your passion. Or do some sort of mental exercises or something to get yourself really geared up so that you come in with that energy and you hit it hard and strong. And you know, that you could do that same thing as you go through the video. Use that energy and try to really carry that through to the finish. Good
point. And I want to be real clear. I'm loading it up with as many different sustaining interest ideas and wonderful content. You know, I always say, we can be entertaining, we can be inspiring, we can be motivating, but that's the easy part. Hard part is bringing real information to the table and putting those things around it. So I'm not saying we don't focus on the body, but I am saying clearly, focus on that start and focus on that finish, maybe with a story, an analogy, something big.
Yeah, and I will just add one more thing here, and that's that your content can overcome some of your mistakes. So in a webinar that I did a few weeks ago, I talked about in some of the other videos, I made a lot of mistakes in the middle, but people told me it would change their lives because I made sure that that content was deep and it was valuable. And so people will let go of some of that presentation style if you really give them that really great content.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, Rob, anything else, or should we wrap this one up?
Well, I keep telling you the same thing. I got tons of information, but maybe we should save that for another video.
Awesome. Well, if you'd love to get in touch with Rob, you can check him out on his website.
JOLLES.com.
And we'll drop a link to that below, as well as my website. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, ring the bell to make sure you get the notifications. And until next time, thanks for watching.